flag salute. If we could have a moment of silence to honor our past and present members of the Lockport Township Fire Protection District, those serving in the military. And Henry, would you start the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I thank you. Roll call, please.
Trustee Pell?
Here.
Trustee Pelia?
Here.
Trustee McCluskey?
Here.
Trustee Siegel?
Here.
Trustee Meter?
Here. Next item on the agenda is matters of the public. If anybody would like to address the board at this time, speak. All right, we'll move on, seeing and hearing no one. The next item is approval of the minutes. We are going to, I'll entertain a motion to approve the regular minutes, meeting minutes, January 22nd, 2014.
So moved, with one correction in that Trustee McCluskey did come to the meeting. He wasn't there, roll call, but he was there. I don't know that it says that when he came in, but he was here. It says that he was absent.
717.
I think it is.
Is it?
Second on page 7, yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. I just want to make sure that we're giving him due credit for everything.
I'll second the motion.
Second. Roll call, please.
Trustee Siegel?
Yes.
Trustee McCluskey?
Yes.
Trustee Pelia?
Yes.
Trustee Meter?
Yes.
Trustee Pell?
Yes. And the motion passes. And the next, I'm going to entertain a motion to approve the minutes numbered 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And they are closed session minutes from January 22nd through February 12th.
So second.
Roll call, please.
I did.
Who's second?
I did.
Trustee Meter?
Yes.
Trustee McCluskey?
Yes.
Trustee Pelia?
Yes.
Trustee Siegel?
Yes.
And Trustee Pell?
Yes. Okay, thank you.
We covered the closed session minutes from the 22nd.
He included 2
Yes.
through 10, which 2 is to close.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, we got it. Okay, the next item is the treasurer's report, Bob.
Okay, the first page there shows the district at the end of January had roughly $13.5 million in various financial institutions. Second page shows where that $13.5 million is spread out in the 9 funds within the district. The third page is the comparison to where we were last year at the end of January as far as revenue and expenditures. And the top half there shows that revenues were roughly $500,000 more than we were last year at this time. And then the bottom, expenditures were $800,000 more than we were last year. In addition to for the expenditures, in addition to the higher personnel costs, we paid off a lease. We've in the capital, we bought the payment for 2 ambulances in there too, and some new vehicles. And also in the miscellaneous is higher due to the fact that we the levy for the pension that we turned over to the pension was $400,000 more than it was last year. And I will entertain any questions if you have them.
Any questions, gentlemen? If none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the treasurer's report as presented.
So moved. Second.
Second by Mr. Meter. Thank you. The next item is the,
Roll call.
go ahead, I'm sorry, jumping ahead.
Trustee Paglia?
Yes.
Trustee Meter?
Yes.
Trustee McCluskey?
Yes.
Trustee Siegel?
Yes.
Trustee Pell?
Yeah. Okay, next item is, I'll entertain a motion to approve the bills in the amount of $449,925.30.
So moved.
Second. With a
Any
que-
questions?
There was a question, the Johansson Anderson bills, the evaporator, that's in connection with the replacement of the furnace, that,
Correct. As they took it apart, they said, well, we got it apart, do you want to change the A coil in there? In talking with the guys, I said, yeah, it was best, well, it was apart, best time to do it.
and then the A300, that's the approved contract for the furnace.
Yes, sir.
So the only thing that's not new there is the compressor outside for the air conditioning.
Correct.
And there's only one furnace in that, or two. So the other one,
There's two furnaces in there, two air conditioners which handle the living side, so the offices, day rooms, and that. And then there's radiant heat out on the apparatus.
okay, well, we replaced one furnace.
Replace them all.
Okay, so this is for two,
Yes.
okay.
It's two brand new furnaces.
And two new coils?
Correct.
I see it, the two is close to the installed, now I see, okay.
I have questions. The tough books for 56,000.
Yes, sir. That was approved at the December, or January, I think December meeting.
Who gets those?
Those are the frontline, we talked about replacing all the frontline computers in the emergency vehicles, and that wasn't going to cost the district because we're using our IPRF grant to pay for that.
Okay, so do the two new vehicles, are they equipped with this?
They will get them too, yes.
Okay. Next question is on the 18 replacement sets of gear,
Yes, sir.
40,006.
Yes, sir. That was something that came through, it was like November or December. That was a while ago that we approved it.
Okay. The last one? It's on the middle page. Rebuild the tank to pump valve, leaks water, 17,000.
That was number one.
I think so.
Six Global?
I
Yes.
think that's global. Yeah.
It's vehicle number 03148897. I believe that's engine one. We had a couple of our engines where they had some failures mechanically. The stuff that's considered heavy mechanical, that goes into the shop.
Okay, that's all I have.
Anything else? Okay, roll call, please.
Trustee McCluskey?
Yes.
Trustee Siegel?
Yes.
Trustee Meter?
Yes.
Trustee Pell?
Yes.
Trustee Paglia?
Yes.
Thank you.
Next item is approval of disbursements. Any questions? I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second. Roll call.
These maintenance plans for J&A again, those are part of the annual inspection that we approved, or is this something in addition, or what are these?
That is the annual costs. That was what was approved. December? Was it annual?
No, so they had the last two meetings in January.
So we would have this cost even though we just put two new furnaces and 8 coils in, we still pay them a maintenance on $1,068 in addition to that for units that we just paid them to replace?
Well, 1,068 is for all the units, so it's for, It would be for the 2 new units, the 2 existing air conditioners, as well as the radiant heat out on the apparatus floor. But you bring up a good point. We're going to go back and knock on their door and ask them if they want to readjust that, since those new furnaces should be covered under warranty.
Yeah.
If that's a noon luncheon, I'd like to attend.
That's all I have.
Where was I?
Ready for a vote, a roll call, I think.
A motion?
We had a motion and a second. Roll call.
A roll call, thanks.
Trustee McCluskey?
Yes.
Trustee Meader?
Yes.
Trustee Pell?
Yes.
Trustee Pialia?
Yes.
Trustee Siegel?
Yes.
The next item is the attorney's report. Carl?
Well, good evening, everyone. Yesterday, I spent the day out here with arbitrator Gene Von Hoff in the local 1544. He was going through the issues related to the minimum manning grievance. We'll get the transcript in a couple of weeks, file briefs about 30 days after that, and then the arbitrator is supposed to rule within approximately 30 days of receiving the brief. So in about 3 months, we should have a decision on with respect to that issue. We thought it went well, but I always say the root of arbitration is arbitrary, so we never know. We think we have the case and the law and the facts on our side here, and we opt to win would be what I would say, but I won't guarantee that, of course. We think it went in well, so now it's just a matter of writing it up and having her rule on it.
This was the subject of, we're above our statute or contractual.
Contract minimum staff is 19. The district has, for the most part, kept it at 22 since Station 6 was opened. The contract was entered into with 19 as the number, signed off almost a year to the day after this station became operational, and the parties agreed to 19 after running for almost 12 months with 22. So it was a clear decision, I believe, that the district continued to intend upon having a number of the contract that was what we call the safe, minimum safe crew, and have another number above that as the operational minimum. And that number was set by the district, not by agreement with the union. And that was pretty clear testimony. But the union's argument is because you have maintained 22 as your operational number, that is the new minimum that you have to call back for overtime regardless. We still have maintained 22, but won't force somebody to accept the overtime until we're down to 19 at this point. So if they voluntarily take it, we're maintaining as a district, you are maintaining that we have 22 personnel on duty at all times. And that's an operational, that's a service level that you as the board and the staff here feel is the appropriate way to staff the district. But it's something that you guys set, not by agreement with the union. So that's the overall level of service to be provided to the community. That is a management right to set. So that's really what this is about. And we were trying to get dates for the unfair labor practice cases. There's an unfair labor practice charged by the union against the district and by the district against the union. We related to the off-the-record negotiations for an extension of the contract that did not get approved. We're looking at March 24th and 25th as the probable dates for that, as I was indicating to a couple of trustees before the meeting started. I think a couple of the new trustees, or at least one of the new trustees, should testify as to their position coming in here in your first meeting, being asked to approve a 3-year extension to a contract that you don't know what's in the current contract, and how that really wasn't something that you felt was appropriate at the time. And due to the fact that it was all off the record, we still start it now. So that's where we're at from a labor standpoint. I do want to say thank you to those that were at the Northern Illinois Alliance of Fire Protection District Conference. So it was good to see people there. Thought it was a good conference. Any questions on what's going on?
Okay.
That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Carl. Chief, your report, please.
Good evening, and I just have to follow up the attorney's comments that I'm glad he thanked you for attending the conference, because when he saw me up there, he said he'd let anybody in the front door. But my report is listed here. I do want to point out a couple things that I think are pertinent for the board to be aware of. Item number 4 has to do with some of our ambulance crews that were just recognized by a couple of the area hospitals for some outstanding service to patients. On January 30th, firefighter paramedic Jeff Young and Bill Schultes were recognized for their assessment and treatment of a stroke victim by Presence St. Joe's Medical Center. On February 14th, firefighter paramedic Bill Schultes and Curtis Kudzinski were recognized for their assessment and treatment of a cardiac patient by Presence St. Joe's Medical Center. And on February 21st, we have another crew getting recognized, Kyle Shepard and Curtis Kudzinski, for their assessment and treatment for a stroke patient at Silver Cross Hospital. Obviously, we're very proud of all the work our people do, but when the hospitals invite our people and recognize them in front of an auditorium full of nurses, technicians, cardiologists, neurologists, I think that's a pretty big deal. And so I want to make sure that those guys get their recognition that they got coming to them. And also, by the way, as you can tell, if you wake up and have an ambulance crew over, you want to see Curtis or Bill Schultes right this point.
Can they be on all the time?
Does that recognition go in their file folders?
It does, yes, sir. So, besides that, on number 8, my item there, I just want to talk about the Department of Insurance. Just pointing out that that inquiry was made. I thought that was kind of odd, but Bob took care of it. And other than that, my report stands as presented, unless you have any questions.
Any questions, as Chief? Any? I don't understand that number 8 at all. Where am I missing the boat there?
An individual was trying to get authority to access our account down at the state. And because it was a state-owned account, the only way they were going to get authority to do it is by us. And the state notified our director of finance, and he conferred with me and hit the reject button.
So this wasn't a FOIA request. This was something they thought it was going to go in and get information for good old times.
I don't know what his reason was, but what your explanation was is pretty right on.
Okay. Thank you, Chief. John?
My report stands as presented unless you have any questions or anything on it.
Gentlemen, you got any questions for John?
Status on new vehicles?
We took delivery in December of the 2 Yukons. They're just getting the electronics, Dave's right now being installed. The other one will be next week. The Fusion should be delivered like today. We talked to Pat yesterday. Hopefully today, so we should have it like later this week. So we're just waiting on electronics to be installed right now. They've been sitting out there for 2 months.
So that's why we're looking at surplusing.
Remember the 3, we've got 3 and we're 3 in and 3 out. That's what we agreed on. So.
And the USS Nautilus, is that stored here now?
Yes, sir, it's inside. It came out of the water in October, and it's been upstairs ever since.
Okay, it's not going.
It's not an icebreaker. I don't think.
All right, thank you, John. You got anything under unfinished business?
No, sir.
Okay. New business, a motion to pay the second half of the Romeoville intergovernmental agreement in the amount of $562,128. Bob, would you speak to that?
Yeah, this is just, you approved it back in August, the first half of this payment. This is per the agreement, exactly what we owe them. So this is just a second.
Right. This is a non-decision by us, just a pass-through almost.
Yeah.
I'll entertain a motion to.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Roll call.
Trustee Siegel?
Yes.
Trustee Meter?
Yes.
Trustee Pell?
Yes.
Trustee Palia?
Yes.
Trustee McCluskey?
Yes. For the benefit of this being videotaped, the amount that we're paying them is $562,128. If anyone missed that, but this district is paying to Romeoville under that agreement.
Thank you, Paul. Item 2 is a fire captain promotional process quote. Dave?
Yes, as the district is aware, we maintain a promotional list for all of our ranks, which is lieutenant, captain, and battalion chief. The lieutenant and battalion, captain and battalion chief tests by statute are good for 3 years, and you have to retest and create a new list. Our captain's test is coming due. This is the testing company that we've used the last 5 years, 6 years. So we do have a quote from them, and I'm asking you for your consideration and approval to allow the district to enter into a testing agreement again with Standard & Associates for the 2014 captain's test.
Cost is in line with past years or what the market will bear, or?
It is, and Trustee Siegel, you raised a good question. Standard, there are other testing companies out in the Chicago market, and there are other companies that do for a cheaper price. But what you're getting is a generic test. So the test they give to the guy in Arlington Heights is the same guy the guy in Lockport and the same guy in Northbrook gets. Very generic. Standard, the reason why their price is a little bit higher is because every year when they come in and do the test, they sit down with our staff and write a test specifically for Lockport. So when they ask you questions about policies, it's about Lockport policies. When they ask you about procedures, it's about Lockport procedures. So this test is for our department. It's used one time. The state only allows you to use a test one time now. You can't reuse the same test. So it is expensive, and in answer to your question, in line with what we would expect for service, yes.
How much more is it than the other less expensive forms?
We have not got a price from the other one for, it's been a couple of years, so I couldn't give you an exact number, but percentage-wise, I would say it's probably 30% higher.
I would ask that next year, we do get a competitive price. And I think we have every right to ask them to explain to us why. Yes, I realize it's a little more specific to us, but that doesn't take a couple $1,000s more than the other test. So I make them justify their additional cost, but if we don't know what the other cost is, it's kind of hard for them to do that, or for us to ask that.
I will get other pricing, and you're going to get a chance this fall because the lieutenant's test is up right after the captain's test. But I mean, if you can imagine going to Walmart, buying a book versus having somebody write a book for you, I mean, there is a significant amount more work when they have to write it for just us.
But you're saying that everybody has to do that because the test can't be used more than once. So that's always being done by everybody. And once they do it, yeah, they can't use the exact same test, but in the age of computers, we know that they're not going to throw that paper away. They're not going to keystroke everything in the next time. So that may be well and good once, but unless our policies change that much that they need to change to make it specifically balanced for us. I mean, we want a good test, but I would like to see some justification. Anytime we're spending more money than somebody else, I think they should be forced to explain to us why.
We'll get that for you.
But you give them an outline for this test, what you guys would like to see them
They,
the questions at the end.
they come in here and sit down with staff for quite a few days and go over everything that we want, what we expect of our captains. And it's very intense, and Dave said it's not generic, they sit down what we expect of our captains of this area, you know, that.
So what we'll do is, this is an example, we'll come in with our policies, we'll go through our policies, and after the meeting, we'll come up with a stack of 10, 15, 20. They take that and they come up with questions. We have no idea what the questions are going to be. And the same thing with books. They put a stack of books in front of us, we pick which ones, and then they say, okay, we're going to use these books. They take it back and they write the test, and we don't know what the questions are until the day of the test.
But there's a similar process for everyone. It may be more generic than what they're doing, but this test requires that process to be gone through for every test.
Not if you are using a generic test as opposed to one that is going to be based upon a department's collective bargaining agreement, policies, and procedures. So there are, part of the test is probably generic because it'll be out of the same books that other departments will be using for their study guides. But then they particularize it for this department, and when they do it for another department that way, the costs are similar to what they're going to be charging to another department that has a customized test. So this isn't high in relation to the other departments that are seeking a specific customized exam. So the extra cost is because it is related to your policies and issues here. Your own contract, I think, is probably part of it. Because the captains are expected to know those things and run them.
And the other company doesn't give an option of a generic test or a more specific test?
No, you can get, and for the lieutenant's exam, if you want, they can bring in quotes from multiple ones for standardized versus customized exams.
I mean, those are different companies, right?
Yeah.
You're talking about?
Yeah.
But do those different companies offer just as a specific test as this?
Yep.
There's really no reason why we shouldn't be asking them for their price on a specific test for us, just like Standard is doing.
And I think from
We're
time
not
to
really
time you've
comparing
done that, right?
two different things.
And I think from time to time you've had competing quotes. At this time it's not offered here, but if you want to do so, I probably have time to get them. Or you can just wait till the lieutenant's exam, whatever the board's comfortable with. Is this a commission recommendation?
When does it expire?
Chief, just real quick on the pricing wise, I know we've gotten prices prior to me handling the promotional examination, but, and I don't remember when it exactly was, but the pricing for this year is the same price that it was 3 years ago for the last captain's test. She said there was no pricing change from the last promotional exam that we had, so the amount stayed the same. I don't know if we had other prices from 3 years ago from other companies or not, but there was no pricing change from last test to this test, which was 3 years ago.
Thanks, man.
So within this document, are you asking for 6,500 plus 7,250?
Yes, sir.
So move.
Second. Roll call.
Trustee McCluskey?
That's $13,750, correct?
Plus
That's what we're looking for, sir. And enter into an agreement with Standard and Associates. Does the chief need the authorization to sign it? That's part of the motion?
He does.
Okay, make that part of the motion. And then roll call.
Trustee McCluskey?
Yes.
Trustee Paglia?
Yes.
Trustee Siegel?
Yes.
Trustee Meter?
Yes.
Trustee Crow?
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion that the lieutenant's test be done on a competitive basis with standardized questions for all bidding companies.
Does that have to be a motion or just a request? Carol?
Is there a motion that?
Do we need a motion?
For the lieutenant.
It's not really on the next one's a lieutenant promotion process.
Yes.
why don't we just do that as a request for the board, direction that staff do that, since it's not on the agenda for an action item? That,
I'll make that direction.
everybody agree with that?
I'll second that direction.
I'll second that either.
You got the message?
Staff's got it.
Okay.
Okay, can we move to the next item?
Yes, sir.
Number 3 is the annual completion for the Open Meeting Act. Chief, this is just information.
Yes. If you haven't done this, and I think you all did as trustees within 30 or 60 days of getting elected, there's no requirement for you to do it on an annual basis. It's good to do so, just so you keep it. But has the district named anybody else as a FOIA officer or Open Meetings Act officer?
Was that 1, 2, 3?
1, 2, 3.
And have
4.
you done your review?
Yes. In the process of being.
So your suggestion is we don't have to do this when you would like, it would be a good idea if we did do this,
The
correct?
designees that the 3 of you have annual. The trustees, it says within 30 days of an election, but it's not on an annual basis. So the 3 of you, information-wise, are working on getting your annual thing done.
You end up getting that certified or whatever by the Attorney General, correct? That has been completed? I mean, I know, I told him that it was done. At some point, do you get acknowledgement from?
We don't, when the student does the online course, once you successfully complete it, there's an option to print it right there. But they don't forward anything to us.
You just bring that certificate into you.
Yes.
Okay, but it's required to be done, but there's no evidence to say that it has been done.
They print off the certificate, and it should be kept on file here,
Okay, but,
just like the trustees.
okay, so that's policed, if you will, to know that that's been done, so that if the Attorney General doesn't tell you, then we know in fact that that practice has been followed.
We have copies in our files.
Okay.
Any other questions on that item? Okay, thank you. The next, item 4 is a resolution to declare a vehicle surplus. John?
These are, in December, when we approved the purchase of the 2 Yukons and the Fusion, to replace 3 vehicles. These are the 3 vehicles that are going to be replaced. So we're just asking to declare them surplus. So we had the mechanic actually appraise them and grade the vehicles to put them up for sale.
So I'll entertain a motion
You declare the surplus. Is that right?
adopt, pardon me?
Yes, yes, I'm sorry.
To adopt resolution number 2014-02, declare vehicle surplus.
So, second, is part of that resolution indicate how they are to be disposed of?
The resolution calls for the disposition, but this is a 2-part motion. You were declaring them as surplus and then approving the resolution.
The resolution declares them surplus and authorizes that they be disposed of. And,
Without directing how that be done?
correct.
In the past, what we did in the last vehicle, we had the mechanic, he graded the vehicles and took the higher of the last. This one here, he got the 2 different, Kelly Blue Book and the Black Book price, and using the higher price of the valuation, that's what we put them up for sale as.
Now, can we, if something else comes during this calendar year, surplus, can we use this resolution, or do we have to do another separate resolution?
Specific to these, isn't it?
You do a specific resolution with respect to any personal property that you are seeking to declare surplus and dispose of. We just like to show the board action of doing that through a resolution.
So anything else down the road, we would have to do another resolution.
Yeah.
Does this restrict employees from purchasing these vehicles?
This in
Does
and
it
of
restrict the
itself does
district
not.
from buying?
Pardon?
Is everybody excluded? That is a matter of good transparency, would you say yes?
It depends on the dollar amount of the transaction, on whether trustees could enter into a contract to purchase it or for employees. If it's under, it's either $1,500 or $2,500, you can do business and buy and sell things, but we generally discourage that.
Okay.
Just thinking, especially if it's not done by sealed bids.
Just wondering, is there some reason why we aren't offering these for sale by sealed bid?
Are you doing an auction, or what have you done in the past?
The last couple that we've had, we put a for sale sign out front, we put a price on it.
Or best offer?
Well, I'm a little leery of putting OBO because the last time we did it, we had a guy come in and says, you know, we're asking 10, he says, I'll offer you 5. We said, well, we're gonna wait and see. He goes, well, it says our best offer. And it's like, well, we're gonna wait and see what our best offer is. He wasn't too happy with us.
So there's a motion for
Yes,
2014-02
Yes.
with a second?
yes,
Okay.
ready? Trustee Siegel?
Yes.
Trustee Paglia?
Yes.
Trustee McCluskey?
Yes.
Trustee Meter?
Yes.
Trustee Powell?
Yes.
Okay. Is there anything else under new business? Okay, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to go into closed session for the purpose of discussion of the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the district. 5 ILCS 120-2C1 and collective negotiating matters 5 ILCS 120/2C2. That's the motion. So need a second.
Second.
We don't need 4.
No.
Not that I know of.
1 and 2.
That was the motion.
Trustee-
You want to add 4 to it?
I'm not sure what it might come up, but it just, okay.
Trustee Powell?
Jim?
Yes.
Yes.
Closed session?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Sorry. Trustee McCluskey?
Yes.
Trustee Siegel?
Yes.
Trustee Meter?
Yes.
Trustee Paglia?
Yes.
Thank you.